Following the networking area portion of the evening, Guyan shared with attendees the efforts and investments made back to life. Doctors Hospital is eager to offer a wide variety of medical services designed to meet the healthcare in North Mountain County. Doctors Hospital has opened its doors for a soft launch on Monday, September 16th, when a patient who people are always a hoot on that. Oops. For a patient, I amuse myself sometimes. Who was brought in flatlined in emergency. Staff, let's say brought him back to life, not managed to. It kind of sounds like it's surprising. Period. He is recovering in an ICU nearby. Period. Following the hard launch. Following the hard launch on Wednesday, September 18th, let's say the Thursday, but on, see, it takes me a few tries too. On Thursday, following the hard launch, which was Wednesday, September 18th, a pediatric patient was successfully diagnosed with appendicitis and prepared for surgery. Guyan began his presentation by introducing himself and his past endeavors. That led him to opening Doctors Hospital. He's Vietnamese by birth and immigrated in, so you don't need that comma. You only need a comma if you have a complete sentence on both sides. And immigrated to the United States of America from Vietnam and following. So see if it said Guyan is Vietnamese by birth and he immigrated to the United States, then you would need a comma. But because it says is Vietnamese by birth and immigrated to the United States, you don't need the comma. It's only if you have a full sentence on both sides of the and that you use the comma to join them. Just a little tidbit. Guyan's father was sent in after the war to rebuild bridges, and due to his use of American government funding, sponsored out of Vietnam and departed on C-130. Although Guyan's father was a civil engineer, he was forced to start over once in America and owned a variety of, let's say, businesses. Such as gas stations and dry cleaners, and at one point even owned, and at one point he even owned and no need, If it was the Egg Roll Factory, if that was its proper name, it would need to be capitalized. But just because it's an egg roll factory, it's not a specific name, then no capitalization. Guyan would go on, there's that thing again. That's only appropriate for the true crime genre. Hard news, you don't say he would go on to tell. He told. Guyan told the story. Let's just leave that. Guyan told of how his father and mother perfected a frozen egg roll model that could be reheated on hot dog rollers commonly seen in gas stations. Oh wow, they did that. That's cool. Again, gas stations. If it was a specific gas station, yes, but a generic gas station, they need to capitalize. This would go on to open the possibility of a variety of other things being reheated on the rollers. So after growing beyond the local gas stations, Guyan's father would be forced to go legit. Not would be, again, only for true crime. He was forced to go legit. This not would lead, led. I love true crime too, but we can't write that way. This led Guyan to say, not to state, his father's, with an apostrophe, because it shows possession, biggest business philosophy being the concept that the customer is number one. When you're an immigrant, said, not stated, and you do something like a gas station, even though you never owned a gas station, the only thing you fall back on is you treat people right and they'll come back to buy your gas. Let's say is to treat people right and they'll come back to buy your gas. Later in life, Guyan not would join, joined. The U.S. Navy and he went to the University of Chicago for both his undergraduate and medical education, not schooling. Not would. And later became a naval officer. Not would say, said. Boy, you're stuck on it this time. It's usually just one or two in a story. That was probably the best professional thing I ever did because it taught me at an early age the difference between leadership and management. Following being deployed to Iraq and meeting his commitment, Guyan would then, when I left, the military and continued to practice emergency medicine. He also did entrepreneurial things on the side. That should be a comma. Such as a health IT company that, let's call him he, because we've said his name so many times. IT health company he successfully sold, and a care management company that he also sold to private equity. Guyan has practiced medicine for around 25 years, mostly in the Panhandle, including being an emergency room doctor in Santa Rosa, North Okaloosa, Navy, Asian Port St. Joe, and from time to time in Panama City, Pensacola. This is home, said Guyan. I am pretty much a southern boy without the accent. Oh, I love him. Guyan was also the CEO of Doctors Memorial Hospital in Bonifay, with Guyan explained. And he explained that not Doctors Medical in Bonifay is a classic example of a rural hospital in America always teetering on the edge of survival. And took out a $16 million bond in order, no, not in order to, that's just a transitional thing, take that out, to build the facility located in Bonifay, thus saddling. I don't know how to spell that. There we go. Phone knows how. Thus saddling the previous owners with that debt. The previous owners, not Wood, subsequently defaulted on the bond payments and don't need that comma because it doesn't have a full sentence on both sides, and were informed that the hospital needed to take on different management. This led Guyon, along with other physicians, to good comma usage, to fight for the right to be the management services themselves, saying, we were physicians that were willing to work there, cut down the transfer rate, and if anything, bring the doctors back to Doctors Memorial. Okay, we've said his name too many times. Okay. You'll see where I'm going with this. Somewhere along the line, Guyon heard of the vacant hospital in Defuniak Springs and began the process of purchasing and updating the facility. Guyon explained that the perks of being a rural hospital in America is that the doctors, should not be capitalized, have the ability to own and operate the facility. The previous facility officially shut its doors on March 18, 2022, good comma usage, with the clinic closing shortly after in February, and with its closing around 200 jobs were lost. We don't need that with. Sets us up for sentence fragments. The official reopening of the facility under Guyon and others occurred on Wednesday, September 18th. If you're going to abbreviate, you got to use the period. I don't know how Bruce feels about that. We used to have to spell it out, but I'm going to leave that up to y'all. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Well, no, closed. And partners closed on the facility August 18th. Stop that. August 18th, 2023, and began the much needed renovations and updates to the facility. None of the equipment located on site was updated, was up to date, or usable. So they began by investing $3.5 million in both capital investment and construction and renovation. Nope, see, that's a sentence fragment, including brand new, up to date, and that gets new up dash to dash Up-to-date technology and equipment. And because you've already used the word including in the same sentence. A new 128 size per second CT machine. I don't think anybody knows what that means. Not a layperson, anyway. All new, let's see, brand new up-to-date technology and equipment. Let's go with such as a new CT machine, all new operating room equipment. And all new operating equipment. As well as updates. Making the exchange of personal information more secure. Guyan said, not went on to state, but said that himself and that he and his partners wanted the kitchen to be open to the public and have a focus on healthy eating, with an executive chef being hired. See, the biggest obstacle that Doctors Memorial needed to face to open, let's leave the in order to, was the fact that the state did not view the facility as a previous hospital, meaning that Doctors Memorial was grandfathered, F-A-T-H-E-R, fathered, nothing, meaning everything had to be compliant with current hospital code. Wow. Doctors Memorial had, let's say, faced in order to open was that the state did not view the facility as a previous hospital, meaning Doctors Memorial was grandfathered nothing. And everything had to be compliant with current hospital code. This led to the renovations and additions that were not previously thought to be an issue. The cost of the project and cost of the project went up. Okay. Cost of the project went up and the timeline was set back. Eventually, Wednesday 18th, Doctors Memorial in Defuniak Springs was officially open to the public, with current services being offered being the emergency department, and lab and radiology. By Wednesday, September 18th, good use of a comma, Doctors Memorial in Defuniak Springs had already examined 31 patients, with the numbers steadily growing. What good news. Guyan informed attendees that he anticipates the Doctors Memorial in Defuniak to outgrow the Doctors Memorial in Bonifay. Let's make those parallel. Moving on, Doctors Memorial in Defuniak Springs will would go on to be the first state classified rural hospital. Was. Doctors Memorial in Phoenix Springs was the first state classified rural hospital in Florida, leaving the door open for needed grants and subsidies, which played a major role in the reopening of the hospital. In the following months, Guyon and partners plan to start orthopedic classes in October. A vascular surgeon that can aid in patients receiving dialysis and complex dentistry under anesthesia, overnight admissions, and urgent care starting in November, with more to come. Okay, it's kind of long. In the upcoming months, not following months, Guyon and partners plan to start orthopedic cases in October. Have a vascular surgeon who, a person is always a who, none of that, can aid in patients receiving dialysis and have a vascular surgeon who can aid in patients receiving dialysis. Mix up that punctuation a little bit so that it's more clear. Complex dentistry under anesthesia. We're just making a hard break there so that we know where the breaks are. Guyon and partners plan to start orthopedic cases in October. Have a vascular surgeon who can aid in patients receiving dialysis. Complex dentistry under anesthesia. Overnight admissions and urgent care starting in November, with more to come. Guyon and partners will also be partnering with Walton County Sheriff's Office to have a fixed price for patients being seen out of Walton County Prison, as well as start working on receiving the credentials needed to start. Okay. And I'm working toward receiving the credentials needed to start taking Medicare and other insurances to offer outpatient lab testing. Okay. The Freeport Satellite Rotary Club met for its meeting at the Madison at Owl's Head. Recently met for its at the Madison at Owl's Head, and Chief Executive Officer of the North Walton Doctors Memorial Hospital, Hy Guyon, spoke following the networking and refreshments. Guyon shared with attendees the efforts and investments made to bring the facility on Highway 331 into Funiac back to life. Doctors Hospital is eager to offer a wide variety of medical services designed to meet the ever-growing need for healthcare in North Walton County. Doctors Hospital opened its doors for a soft launch on Monday, September 16th, when a patient who was brought in flatlined and emergency staff brought him back. Let's say revived him. He was brought in flatlined, and emergency staff revived him. He is recovering in the ICU. On Thursday, following the hard launch, which was September Wednesday 18th, a pediatric patient was successfully diagnosed with appendicitis and prepared for surgery. Can begin his presentation, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I think we're good.